Good morning. Well, for a Saturday, for Christmas Eve, at this time, 6 a.m. in the morning, you are expecting it to be generally quite quiet, but it is actually quite eerie how seemingly quiet it is around Nottingham train station. I've just been inside for a little bit of a look and had a look on the board. There are no East Midlands Railway trains operating today, so except for a very small service between London St Pancras and Corby. But inside of Nottingham train station, there are only a few cross-country trains that appear to be coming in. This is every 30 minutes or so. Usually on a normal day, there would be every few minutes. But of course, on Christmas Eve, despite this early time, usually lots of trains would be coming in and taking people out. And it's going to get quite busy usually on Christmas Eve. Of course, there are no trains running in and out of Nottingham today. The big one is, of course, thousands of union members of RMT, as well as some other unions, depending on where you are in the country, are on strike. It really does feel like the culmination of this year of strikes that we've been having, as you mentioned, border force, postal workers, but I think the real big one has really been the railways, particularly for how people have been affected. Of course, it is mainly about pay. The RMT and other unions would say that they want something that's a little bit more in line with inflation. They're not getting anywhere near that 10% number at the moment. It isn't just about pay, though. Of course, it's about working conditions as well, particularly the idea of having driverless trains, no ticket officers, so there won't necessarily be somebody in a little box that you can go and talk to about which train you need to get. You might have to do a little bit more searching for yourself. It's really about protecting those conditions from unions like the RMT, as well as I say, about pay. The man who's become a bit of a famous face for rightly or wrongly reasons, depending on which way you might look at it, is of course Mick Lynch from the RMT. He is the General Secretary. He said that the union remains available for talks to resolve this dispute, but until the government gives the rail industry a mandate to come to a negotiated settlement on job security, pay and conditions of work, our industrial campaign will continue into the new year if necessary. As you said at the start there, the advice really is to only travel if absolutely necessary. The few trains that are running on tracks today will probably be very busy, and you're being advised to, if you are going to get a train, do it as early as possible, because most trains will be stopping about 3 p.m. ahead of the strikes officially starting at 6 p.m.
So, Will, that's the picture in Nottingham. How's it looking nationally as people make their way up and down across the country? The roads are going to be busy, aren't they?
Yes, the AA is estimating that 17 million people are going to be on the roads. Most of the roads are going to be busy at this time of the year. Driving home for Christmas is the famous song and the famous saying. Most people would say that it's quite nice to drive home for Christmas. I can't imagine on any of the main motorways or any of the main A roads in and out of big cities or even on rural roads are going to be very pleasant for many people today. National Express and other coach services have put on extra services over the last few days, so many people that would have to get a train today because they've working commitments or for whatever reason, they'll be looking to get on coach services instead. This really isn't something that you could have missed, whether it's because you mainly stay on social media or because you watch the news. There is no way that you could have missed that these strikes were coming. But if by some miracle you have missed that this is happening today and you're sitting in a hotel after a night out and you're watching this on television, the advice really is to get moving right now, because there is very little opportunity as the day goes on, and particularly around midday, those roads are going to be very busy and very congested.